Good evening. Welcome to this press conference of Conmebol Copa America USA 2024. We have head coach Dorival Jr. of the Brazilian national team. Before we start, please remember it is forbidden to live stream or record with your devices. You can download the press conference using the QR codes exhibited in the room. To ask a question, raise your hand, wait for the microphone, introduce yourself and your media outlet. Any questions? Good evening, Dorival, Pulinetro here. I have 3 questions because was this the worst campaign of Brazil since 2016, where it was eliminated in the first phase in Copa America? Brazil had, for almost 30 minutes, one more man since the red card. Why do you think it wasn't enough to lead? And is there any positives that we can consider for today? Well, as regards positives, there were positives in every match. It is only natural that after a match such as this one, everything that we might consider positive is ruled out. It is natural after this type of match. I am aware of that. Many things happened throughout the tournament. We didn't perform at a high level technically, but I do not wipe off any of the matches. I think there was a great delivery. There was a very good battle that we waged in every match. They were always on a quest for results. They were a very courageous team, and I think the positives were more than the negatives. And the fact that we didn't cease outnumbering them will be analyzed. We had 2 players on the flanks. We tried to filter some passes, carry out some movements to create opportunities, but it wasn't a great day. The 2 center backs prevailed in every attack, and I think that was clear in the 90 minutes. I only have one question. Eduardo Gabardo for Gaúcho Radio. When Uruguay was one man down, do you think that it could have been a bit bolder to the goal or find the net? What were you after with the substitutions? Well, we had 2 booked players, so that was one of the triggers. And then our midfield was very crowded in order to switch sides. Then with Rodrigo and Sabino, we wanted to use those flanks to allow the midfield to move higher. We tried, we made those attempts, but then I also substituted Evanilson and Gabriel Martinelli to see if we could get through the back line. They were holding firmly. There were many duels in this match, and I think there were very little technically clinical moments for both teams. When we outnumbered them, we lacked that savviness to get to the box on the flanks. Dorival, Thiago Reis for the Radio Stadiaria. We can see the glass half full or half empty. You only won one match, that against Paraguay. And then the other two were draws, so you were unbeaten. What is the legacy of this tournament for you and for the group? We know this is your first official tournament as a coach. Well, this is a process. In general, you come across difficulties when you are creating a team, when you are putting together a team. In our case, we have been working together for 2 years after the World Cup, and we have a new upcoming tournament. This was our first official tournament, and the result was far from what we expected. The knockouts were difficult for us. Technically speaking, the teams we faced had a greater volume of work, and these things could be expected in such a tournament. But yes, we are living this tournament after a good streak without defeats, but we're not satisfied because the results could have been better given our training and all the work. I don't speak Portuguese. We know that the Brazilian players and the Uruguayan players are of a great quality. How important is the tactical work of the coaches, such as Bielsa's work? And do you think that is of the essence, that would have been of the essence to defeat Uruguay today? I think the Uruguayan national team has a pattern, a very well-defined pattern. They have been working for a long time together. They had some problems at first, they corrected them, and now they are finding great results. I think we will achieve all that as well, not a doubt about it, but we need some time to make such corrections. We had some issues at the beginning of the tournament. I think we corrected plenty of mistakes. For instance, some plays where they were able to break through our backline, and I do think that we were able to improve on those issues, and some others that we were able to develop from scratch. It is tough given the period of time that we had to work to try to speed up the process. I think that we'll have some more time in the future, but I do believe that this was a great step to improve, to grow, and to expect better performances. Univision, Dorival here. Coach, there were two scoreless matches, that calls everyone's attention, and maybe there are some needs of elite forward. Rodrigo undoubtedly can play in that position, Vini as well. Today you had Endrick. Does the Brazilian team need a top-notch forward, and how can you qualify or describe the first time as a starter of Enrique? Well, we play with players that have shown a great performance in their clubs. This is something that we are trying to do, to overcome difficult situations and to seize to the fullest the features that every player in their own club has shown so far. And in these first matches, these 8 matches in which I have coached the team, we couldn't find that forward that we were looking. Evan Nilsson had very few minutes. I acknowledge that, but somehow this game plan was working for us. We understood each other and we were creating opportunities. The first matches in the training sessions, to me, that allowed us to be decisive in our finishing with the formation, and in particular achieving results and seeing what I could see in the training sessions. And well, Hendrik's first game as a starter, naturally, this young player performed very well today. He did not have enough opportunities to find the net, but he has the performance we all want. Monica Danilo, TNT Sports. Well, in the last tournament, Brazil was eliminated in quarterfinals after a shootout. Now, that was the same today, and some players, main players in Brazil, were not on the pitch when the kickers were chosen. Can you share with us how those penalty kickers were chosen? At a time in the huddle, you were outside. What happened there? Well, I was talking to them and I was telling them what came to mind. That is why I stayed outside of the huddle. And once we defined the 5 penalty takers, I discussed with them some things from the training sessions and other things we did together in Orlando when we were working and training. And we imagined that the shootouts were a possibility. And unfortunately, Rodrigo, after the red card, had to leave the pitch, and he would have been one of the penalty takers, but those that took those penalties were very well trained and were in perfect condition to contribute. There is only one chance, and it happens. You can miss or find the net, and this time it was our turn to be eliminated. Dorival, good evening. The Copa America 2024 allows Brazil to write a new page in this book towards the qualifiers for the World Cup. Do you think that Brazil will be a courageous, strong, and competent team? What are the positives of this tournament for Brazil to recover its prestige in the continent, the country, and the world? This type of work requires a great level of patience, and we want to speed up some results, of course, but I do think that everything that we're feeling or seeing will be of utmost relevance from now onwards. We want to be aligned. We have discussed everything with the CBF administrators. We talk about everything that took place in the tournament, and there were many positives throughout this process. Not only positives from the matches, but also from the training sessions. I do have to acknowledge that these weren't the expected results, and I take full responsibility for them. But I do think as well that this team has great room to grow, to evolve, and to improve. To supplement the question by our last colleague, what should be the aim of the sports of this football-wise project for Brazil to recover that protagonism? And what do you think about the level of this tournament in Copa America? We are undergoing a very important renovation or reformulation of this team. I have only coached this team for 8 matches, and this is a process that we have to go through. We are aware of the difficulties we will come across throughout the path, but we now lost a match in the knockouts, and that wasn't what we expected. But I repeat, we have a lot of room to continue growing, evolving, improving, and our main objective now is to qualify to the World Cup. Right now, we are ranking number 6. We're not comfortable with that standing, and that really wants us to change our standing on the chart, on the table. We'll do our best for that purpose. Carlos Achille from Global. In the line of the qualifiers that will start in September, Brazil has a player that is on recovery, there's Neymar, that will soon or later be on the roster. Will you start thinking about the upcoming call-ups? I believe that some passed this exam and some others failed in their endeavor. If this was an exam or a test facing the qualifiers in the future, well, to us, the level was very high for the training sessions, for the matches from day one. Everything that we could do to preserve the players and to maintain the physical conditions and fitness of the players was done. Many of them joined us after long seasons in their clubs, and despite all that, they showed a great delivery, great dedication, and considering what we saw in the training sessions and every day, I think that we can still grow as a team all together. This is a process, and I understand that after a defeat due to shootouts, it is tough to start talking about this, and that many people might not understand that things are like this when you are creating a team from scratch. There are ups and downs in football, and we have to recover as a fact. The main thing is that this team showed a great level of dedication, and that we cannot say that they failed on the pitch. From the first minute, they gave their best. And of course, we know that there are chances to improve, and that this experience of a tournament is something that we will seize to structure the team. So we think that these type of situations are very useful for the future. Eduardo Burgos, Diario AS. You talked to us subbing off Rodrigo because he couldn't hold, or he couldn't bear the foul by Nandes. Do you know the scope of the injury? We still don't know. It was a very hard tackle, and he could not continue playing, so we'll have to perform the corresponding assessment and examination. This is the end of the press conference.